Joining us right here from NBC Sports and Football Morning in America, his must-read column, as it will definitely be on Monday, right after the first round of the draft from, our friends at NBC Sports. Peter King, how are you, Peter?
Hey, Rich, everything's okay. How did it go for you last night?
Oh, you know what? It was delightful from my right corner desk position, sitting in front of the laptop and just having one celebrity / football player / fan of the game after another come in and raise as much money for NFL.com/relief as we possibly can. Almost $4 million last night, Peter. Amazing. It was amazing.
Wow,
really
that's utterly fantastic. Good for you.
You know what?
Well, I'm glad. I'm so glad to hear that people cared about yesterday for more reasons other than football.
Well, I mean, and again, just the people from all over the pop culture landscape that joined and gave some time. The first 45 minutes, everyone should go check it out on NFL.com or at NFL Twitter handle. You can watch all, if you've got 3 hours, 5 hours you want to kill. I mean, it's all sitting right there from last night. Peter, it was amazing. From Kevin Hart busting the stones of Russell Wilson and Tom Brady and, giving Brady grief for calling it Tampa Bay because he's so, egotistical. It was laugh out loud hilarious. Strahan and Dion and then, one after another. It was really great, Peter. So I appreciate you asking. Let's get into the order of business here. Did the Packers call Aaron Rodgers? Did they give him a heads up? And if so, who was that person? Did they connect last night?
I don't know if they did or not. It sounds like they didn't.
Really?
I forget where I read it. I read it somewhere that they didn't call him, but I don't know that, so I can't say.
Right.
But either way, man, I don't know. I saw Jordan Love to the Packers in a couple of mock drafts, and I don't know, Rich. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me now. I say it doesn't make a lot of sense, and on the other side of the coin, I say I congratulate people who look at football as a continuum, which is what it should. Brian Gutekunst certainly has got a job to look at the Packers of 2028, not just 2020 and 2021. So I don't knee-jerk hate this, but the reason that I think this is a little bit different than the Favre thing is that, Mike McCarthy, Ted Thompson, basically what was happening in Green Bay, and not McCarthy yet, okay? But Ted Thompson certainly and the Packers, they were wondering how much longer Brett Favre was going to play. He didn't want to come to minicamp anymore. They just didn't know how much longer, and he was really starting to think at the end of every year, do I want to keep playing? So you look at that, and then you compare that to Rodgers. And Rodgers, it seems to me, he wants to play at least 40, right? I mean, he's told me that. And as long as he told me, as long as my legs stay, as long as I can use my legs and all that, I'd like to play until I'm 40. And so, this means that he probably wouldn't play at least 40 in Green Bay because think about how this works, Rich. He's 36 years old now, and Jordan Love has got basically a 5-year window in Green Bay. But in order to exercise that 5th year, don't you have to see something in at least the first 3 years?
Of course.
Because you've got to exercise the 5th-year option after the 3rd year.
Well, the difference too, Peter, is between this and Favre is the last time that Rodgers had a first-round selection used by the Packers for his side of the ball, Rodgers was a 20-year-old, was in his 20s. And at least, with Favre, Rodgers dropped into their lap. They traded up to go get him. They traded up to go get him from one slot above where the Niners eventually traded up to get the receiver for their quarterback to make sure that the 6 minutes that they were shy of winning it all could be bridged in the same way that Green Bay was a game shy of it.
I'm going to give you my one other thing that, look, I have not talked to Aaron Rodgers. In the off season, I don't have the kind of relationship with him that I'd call him anyway. But to wonder what his attitude must be today, all you have to do is look at the draft record of the Green Bay Packers in the last 5 years. Okay, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, the Green Bay Packers took one receiver in the top 130 picks of any of those drafts. And that was Ty Montgomery with the 94th pick in 2015. He was a receiver for 1 year, and then they moved him to running back. So I don't count that as a receiver. Sorry. I mean, so essentially for the last 5 years, since Aaron Rodgers was 30 or 31 years old, they have not taken a really good college wide receiver in the draft. They basically they were like Bill Belichick in New England last year.
Right.
Hey, Tom, you and Josh, you go figure it out. You do it all the time. So here's Edelman, and here's a bunch of guys who we got off the scrap heap. You figure it out, and you take us deep into January because you always do. Well, there's a bridge too far. And in my opinion, if you're Aaron Rodgers, last night you see that this is the best crop of receivers maybe ever. And you look and you say, man, we're going to get one or two of these guys. And instead, you get the guy who's going to take his place in a couple of years. So that's why if you're Aaron Rodgers, you got to be steaming today. Especially
since, again, the team that he couldn't get past last year was the one that was aggressive to go up and get Brandon Ayuk. And the Packers were aggressive to go get his successor. That said, it is deep enough where you can get. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah said you can get some quality receiving starters.
They could get a very good receiver
right.
at 62,
fourth, fifth round too. So
right?
I guess we do need to wait for the entire draft to be complete before we can hit on that subject. And of course, again, if Jordan Love is the next Rodgers, then we can revisit this issue on that front later on. I mean, Peter King here on the Rich Eisen Show. One thing to point out is that Jordan Love was available for the Patriots, and they went in a different direction. They traded out so the Chargers could trade up and take Kenneth Murray. The Patriots now have somebody at the top of the second round. I mean, we could keep guessing as to what Belichick's thoughts are, but he certainly must have done the evaluation of Love and thought that's not the guy. Maybe it is just going to be Stidham when it's all said and done. Peter?
Could be. Could be. Or, if you look at the Patriots right now and you look at, they basically starting at number 37, they've got like 5 of the next 60 picks. And so they could do a lot of different things. They could move around if they wanted to. If they feel like there's a quarterback they want, they could probably, trade down a little bit to the middle of the second round and take Jalen Hurts. Or they could take Kmet, the Notre Dame tight end. That there's a lot of connections, a lot of people connecting the dots there to say that the Patriots like Kmet and they could get their long-term tight end, and then maybe they trade up, and who knows? Look, we're all just throwing darts and guessing, and it's also not out of the realm of possibility too that they sign an existing guy or trade a lower pick for Andy Dalton. So we'll see after this weekend.
Peter King here on the Rich Eisen Show. So based on your reporting and your conversations, was it one big, huge smokescreen from the very beginning to the end for the Dolphins and Tua, or was there truly an evaluation that just came up with what we assumed was going to be the result anyway?
Well, I don't know that yet. I'm trying to, endeavoring to talk to Chris Greer sometime in the next couple of days to try to find out exactly what happened and their range of thinking here. I think it's a little bit. I think it's easy now to say they settled on this guy a long way and then just kept a good secret. Could be. I kind of wonder really about, and I wondered this last night. I found it amazing that neither Miami nor the LA Chargers moved up to number 3 just to prevent someone else from taking their guy.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can think of is that Miami must have thought that, look at the Chargers. They have a history of never trading. They hardly ever trade. And then, of course, they did later in the round. So they have a history that they're not going to move up. And no one else was going to move up. And Detroit was so desperate to move down that the Dolphins, I think, Rich just figured nobody's going to go up there, so let's save the second-round pick. It would cost us to move up there, and let's just sit right where we are, and we'll take Tua there. I think that's what happened, but I can't tell you for sure yet.
And then I'm just fascinated by the pick of Isaiah Simmons in Arizona. I mean,
yeah.
Could you imagine? I mean, if you told Cardinals fans you're going to get DeAndre Hopkins on offense and Isaiah Simmons on defense, that's it, right? Just rip that knob off.
It's unbelievable. Rich, when I was doing my mock draft last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, talking to people all around the league, somebody who I trust implicitly said to me, okay, I was going through what I thought was likely, and he said, do you have Isaiah Simmons there at 8? I said, yes. And he said, give Steve Keim Isaiah Simmons, because Steve Keim, unless there's a desperate need, Steve Keim, among all of us in the league, is a take the best player. And so, it's clear that if everybody in this draft was just saying who's the best player, that, Simmons would be probably second or third or fourth on virtually everybody's list. But people say they're going to take the best player, but they don't always do that, obviously. And in this case, it was clear to me that if Isaiah Simmons got there, that Arizona had this intense interest in him, just because they know now that they had one of these guys before, Rich, and his name was Tyrann Mathieu.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaiah Simmons, if anything, is more versatile and maybe just a little bit bigger too. So this is a guy who Arizona has seen before and loved. And to me, I think he's a natural fit with the Cardinals.
And the Broncos getting Jerry Jeudy and the Cowboys CeeDee Lamb. Again, if you asked John Elway and Jerry Jones, respectively, before the draft, if that would be possible, and without them having to move, they don't move and get them.
Here's the amazing thing, Rich. How about the Denver Broncos doing fact-finding before the draft on moving up because they wanted to make sure that they got one of these. I heard it was either Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb, that they wanted one of those two guys, and they had to come out of this draft with one of them, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't make a deal that they felt was satisfactory to them. So they sat there. Imagine John Elway looking up to the heavens and just saying, "Thank you, Lord. I only wanted one, and you gave me both, and I have my choice." So that was a good day for the Broncos. And just, Rich, to me, look at the Broncos right now on offense. Look at an under 25 quarterback, an under 25 running back who's had 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. You got Cortland Sutton now and Jerry Jeudy. You got Noah Fant. I mean, I honestly, I don't mean to be corny. I'm really, really excited about watching Denver's offense this year.
Yeah, and then you throw Melvin Gordon in, because I assume you're referring to
Yeah, I forgot
Lindsey.
Melvin Gordon, which you shouldn't do, obviously.
Right. I mean, and then the Cowboys with CeeDee Lamb now. I mean, that was tremendous. He's got to be happy about that.
That was, to me, and I understand it was a great thing for them and all that. I get it. Man, the Cowboys are going to have to win an awful lot of high-scoring games. They've got some needs on that defense, particularly in the back end. And Dak Prescott better throw for 5,500 yards this year.
Peter, appreciate the time. I know you've got you're chatting with Joe Burrow, which I'd let everybody know is a fantastic Hall of Fame flex by you. I really appreciate that.
Thanks a lot, Rich. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, before you go, the question is that Chris Brown wants to know is, did they send him all? Let him ask this for us. Did they send him all 32 hats in the NFL, or did they just send him the Bengals hat?
I am going to ask him that question.
There you go.
That's a great question. Why would they? But who knows? Maybe they did.
Because they're the Bengals, and you got to be careful. Take care of yourself, Peter. Thanks for the time.
See you guys. Bye.
That's Peter King. His Monday morning column, Football Morning in America, that's seen on NBC Sports and or read on NBC Sports, ProFootballTalk.com. I mean, will be just a must-have. And you heard he's getting all this together. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.